Yahar mateys! Welcome to Sea of Thieves. This is Damron. Welcome to another episode of Sea of Thieves Grand Adventures. And this adventure is the tale of how Rare stole my loot. Damn you, Joe Neate. This adventure is crazy, guys. This is about a 3-hour adventure that I've pretty much condensed into a highlight reel that culminates in just a crazy ending where Rare got the final laugh. So it all started, I was actually working on a video for my Ashen Key Captain Ashen Chest guide. I'm actually putting that together. Hopefully I'll have that out soon, and I'll show you guys kind of really efficient ways to get those tombs. And this part, I was like, okay, I'm going to go do the fleet. So you can already see I have a decent amount of treasure. And this adventure starts with me doing the fleet. And take note of that brig in the distance that's fighting a skelly sloop. That brig is going to play an important role in this adventure for the latter portion of this adventure, which is just awesome. You guys are really going to enjoy this. So anyway, so I start to do the skeleton fleet. I take down this sloop right here. I'm going to kind of give commentary throughout all this because this is just a highlight reel. I'm going to cut it up because this adventure is so long. Eventually, I take down the sloop. And I've actually gone out of the range of the fleet by the time I took down that sloop, and then I get attacked by a Megalodon. So I've got to kill the Megalodon. I'm a pirate. I got to take down everything and get all the treasure. So I take down that Megalodon, and this is key components to this story because I'm using a lot of cannonballs at this time. In fact, I deplete the majority of my cannonballs, in this fight. So I go back to finishing the fleet. I've got the galleon right here, which was a nice little fight. I'm solo at this time. So keep that in mind. I'm playing solo slooping. And so eventually, though, I take down the galleon and finish off the fleet. So as I finish up the fleet, I'm sailing to get some of the loot, and boom, as soon as I finish the fleet, I get attacked by a Kraken. Take note, in the distance is that brig over there. Looks like it's starting to head my direction now. They finished doing whatever they were doing, and we're starting to get low on cannonballs. I got about 45 cannonballs, but gotta finish off this Kraken and see what happens. So I'm gonna sit here and I finish off this Kraken. It wasn't too bad, but again, I used almost all my cannonballs at this point, just finishing off the skeleton fleet, a Megalodon, and immediately afterward a Kraken. Alright, so we're moving on. I finished up the Kraken, and I realized, oh man, this brig's after me, right? So I sent a message out to some of my friends, and I'm like, yo guys, I'm solo. I got a decent amount of loot on board, and I'm getting followed by a brig. Well, my first thought is, well, I'll try to hit him with a stronghold barrel. I did a skeleton stronghold earlier while I was on the server just by myself. Again, I was showing how to get Ashen Keys and Ashen Chests, and that's one way you can do that. And kudos to this crew, because this crew really, we had some awesome moments, and they had a lot of crazy saves of their ship. I actually hit them with a stronghold barrel right there, and I was like, all right, that should take them out. But lo and behold, I get back on my ship, ship. No, they're still alive. They've got their front mast down, but they survived it. So eventually they repair, they keep chasing, but eventually as I'm sailing, I finally get a hold of one of my boys who joins me. So now we've got 2 people on the sloop. I'm like, all right, man, we got a chance here because, you know, flying solo fighting's hard because you ditch your boat. Especially now with the gunpowder barrels in the water, you know, you ghost ride your ship, it's ghosting, hits a barrel, it'll be gone before you get back to it. So there's not any room for arrows, you know, errors solo slooping. So I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna try to barrel them again. But they saw it coming that time, right? I got them with the stronghold barrels, so they kind of knew to expect that time. And you got to remember, at this point, we really don't have many cannonballs. I think we got about 10, maybe 15, but I noticed that they were getting attacked by skelly ships. I'm like, all right, man, they're distracted. I'm going to board them. So I get on board, drop their anchor, which maybe in hindsight I probably shouldn't have done because it allowed the skelly ship to stop shooting them, right? Probably should have just let them roll right into that island. But I kind of cleaned them up. On an important thing here is when I get on their boat, I'm like, oh man, they have a lot of loot. It looks like they got like maybe a skeleton fleet or a stronghold with the loot on their boat as well. So really our plan was, hey man, let's just keep boarding. That's really the only thing we can do. We got no cannonballs, right? We're just kind of playing it by our teeth here. I board, drop their anchor again. My boy's on the boat, you know, trying to do damage. I'm just trying to distract them a little bit, but 3v1's a little hard. And those guys were playing pretty well. I mean, there's some pretty epic moments here. And while we're, you know, in this fight sailing around, luckily for us, we did, you know, as we came up on some of the outposts as we're sailing, we kind of did some drive-by sales. We got to sell a little bit of our most expensive loot, not a lot of it though. You'll see as Rare steals it all. They really get the last laugh in here. It's crazy how this ends, but it provided some scenarios, right? I'm here, I'm like, uh, pretty sure I just heard a mermaid, so I run back to the boat, and indeed a mermaid did spawn. You can see it right here to my left. So I drop sails, and a guy actually is right here. I think he tries to get on the boat. He might actually get on. Yeah, oh yeah, he gets on, survives a blunderbuss, tries to drop my anchor. I catch it, knock him off, and again we're off to the chase. So eventually it culminates again. This is our last barrel. I had 2 barrels and 1 stronghold. This is my last one. I just got up there, suicided, blew it up, took down their mast. That was kind of our last opportunity. So lit them up. By the time I spawn in, again, my buddy has joined them. You can see that's our last 10 cannonballs right there. So my buddy's on the boat now, causing chaos, and we're able to get through this portion of the adventure. So I'll let this play out and you can watch this highlight. we finally sink them, and they had a ton of loot, you know. So not a ton, but they had a lot, right? And I'm like, all right, man, let's get all that loot, add it to ours, and you know, we're gonna go sell all this, you know. So we start picking it all up. Eventually, we get it all, but it took us so damn long to get all that loot. Get by the time we got it, guess who was back in the picture? They were right back on us. They must have spawned really close. Of course, Rare's not going to cut us a break in this story, right? This story is all about Rare really beating up on us, and they spawned them very close by. And by the time we got all the loot out of the water, which didn't take that long, the brig was right back on us. So they're behind us right now. My teammate has boarded them, or is trying to board them again, but we've got no cannonballs. So the biggest thing for us, we were kind of sailing around. We're like, all right, man, we got to try to harpoon some barrels. We got to shoot off onto some islands, and you know, get some cannonballs, because we're out. We've gone through a skeleton fleet, an extra sloop. We got through the first fight with the brig, megalodon, and a kraken. So we are cannonballed out. We got a lot of loot. And we're just kind of doing this, right? Like, hey, any barrels we see, we got to drop it. If there's no cannonballs, we got to try to get some cannonballs. And we're just picking up, 5, 4, 6 here and there, right? Get a little 6 more cannonballs right here, I think, yeah. And that's kind of what we were doing. And really, here we are. We're in this battle with these guys again, and this turned out to be hours. Eventually, I get boarded. Get the guy off the boat. He tried to drop my anchor, but I got it, caught it. We're still moving. This brig is upset that they lost all that loot to a sloop. And then we get attacked by a skelly ship while we're moving, who hits me with just the most perfect cannonball ever. And by the time I spawn back, they are on our boat. We're anchored. So this is another scenario where we got to fend for ourselves, right? So keep in mind, there's an important thing that happened right here that you can't see, and you can see my buddy just come onto the boat there. He died initially, and when he spawned, he actually got spawned on an island and not back on the boat, so then he had to take a mermaid. So it took him forever to get back, and I was doing all that by myself. So we waste our last like 6 cannonballs just getting rid of this skeleton sloop that was on us, of course, not the brig. We sailed into a storm a couple times trying to get rid of these guys. So we sink that sloop, and again, we're off to the races. We're seeing some barrels in the water. I'm like, oh, check these barrels for some cannonballs. Rare's like, nope, we're gonna let those sink. So Rare, there you go again, just destroying us. We did again get to do a couple drive-bys here and there with our loot, so we did sell a little bit of our loot along the way. But let's get right back to the chase. Eventually, what happens as we're moving along, so I board them here, and it's like, all right, we're on. I'm gonna drop their anchor, and we're just gonna try to see what we can do here. We're in total chaos mode, and this fight right here was probably the most epic save one of the most epic saves I've seen by a crew. I wipe them up here, but watch this save on their boat. This is a really amazing. All credit to this crew. They really had fun with it. We were messaging each other back and forth. It was fun. It was a great fight. It was a lot of fun, but this is an amazing save. So I got their anchor down. My buddy's trying to get shots on it. I think he had 10 cannonballs to work with. So I've killed their whole crew. It's just me on the boat. I'm like, all right, light them up, light them up. And watch this save is actually pretty remarkable. can't get much more sunk than that. We were talking like one more cannonball a little earlier and it was over. But they miraculously saved this sink. All three of them down there, bucket, get some shots on me. I get caught on fire. This is just crazy. So eventually they kill me and actually save this boat. And by the time I respawn back in, because my buddy pulled up, he by the time I get back in from the despawn, they're on our boat. And now we're kind of in the reverse scenario. So of course it spawns me on a random island after I get killed, so I have to do go to a mermaid. And this is where Rare really started jumping in the fight, because if you notice, when I was fighting that guy I was by myself, and that was because my teammate also spawned on an island. So none of us were on the boat, we spawned an island. So finally take a mermaid, get back to our boat. By that time they've parked next to us and they have lit us up on fire. So we are just burning, where our anchor's down, dudes on our boat, and the brig's trying to get shots on us. We finally take that guy down, and we actually get out of this. We save the boat here. So we're off. We saved that boat, and we're talking like we're 2 hours into this fight here, okay? And my buddy's like, "Hey man, I gotta go. I gotta cook dinner for the kids." I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, totally understand. Don't even worry about it." So I'm solo now, but pirates. I can't give up, right? I gotta just keep. I gotta play to the end. You know what I mean? And this is pretty much how it ended right here. So we kind of finally made it to the end of this tale, and the way this ends uh is like, Joe, neat, you owe me a pizza, dude. You owe me a bunch of pizzas. So they harpoon me, they catch up to me eventually. We had like a long chase. I thought about sailing into the Red Sea, and I told him, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna sail the Red Sea, but I didn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't just get rid of all of them. But anyway, so this guy, I see him with the barrel, shoot the barrel, and I'm like, crap. And by the time I load back in from the long loading times, not only did that barrel explosion kill me and two of their players, it actually sunk both of our boats. It sunk the brig and it sunk us before we could even load back in. So the story's not over yet. This is not how Rare wins, okay? So I kill this lone guy in the water, and I'm like, at this point I'm like, where's the brig? Where's the brig? Oh, well, there's all my treasure. Where's the brig? The brig is gone. It's nowhere to be found. And I am right beside Galleon's grave. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to put all this treasure onto a rowboat and I'm going to row it to Galleon's grave and I'm going to get the last laugh. I got this. Brig's gone. I got plenty of time. I even, like, when all the treasure started sinking, I even grabbed it all to make it come back up to the top of the water. But watch how this story ends. And that, my friends, is how Rare stole all my loot. The tale of how Rare stole all my loot after all of that fun adventure. A wave in the wilds knocked me into the rowboat and glitched me back to my boat, and the loot was lost forever. Hope you guys like my stuff. If you do, feel free to like and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notified when I put new stuff up, and hopefully I'll see you on the seas.